we'd like to give something very special to you. It's on our website, and it's a special article talking all about the 12 things you can do to protect your children or grandchildren from being taken by social workers. Folks, this is a real problem. Thousands and thousands of children are wrongfully taken by zealous social workers across the United States. And this is a very clear explanation on how you can protect your children, or you can help protect your grandchildren, or people you know who have children. Once again, you get this real easily by going to our website, which is pji.org. That's P for Pacific, J for Justice, I for Institute.org. And once again, from the bottom of my heart and the many attorneys who are sacrificing so much, I want to thank you for those of you who decide to become a part of the team of the Pacific Justice Institute by supporting us on either a one-time or a monthly basis. Now, we have with us here in studio someone who is a part of our team. He actually heads up our Southern California office. His name is Michael Peffer. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Brad. Thanks.
Now, Michael, we have a very hot case right now dealing with a federal law enforcement officer. And it's not the normal case that people might expect dealing with a federal law enforcement officer. It's involving an egregious invasion and violation of privacy. Tell us more.
Right, Brad. Thanks so much. This is one of those cases where we can see the world change around us, the new paradigm that people can announce what sex they are other than that with which they've been born.
Right.
And in this case, we have a female federal law enforcement officer who obviously wears a uniform and is required to carry weaponry, to do everything that a law enforcement officer does.
And she does her job well.
She does it well. She likes her job, and this is something that she's been doing for a while, quite some time here. And things were going well until one of the male officers identified as a woman. And
wait a minute. I'll make sure I got this. I was following you real clear up here. You said until one of the male officers, so we're talking about a biological man.
Correct.
Every gene in his body says he's a man. His body looks like a man, but he says that feels like he's a woman. Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
He believes himself to be a woman.
He has that gender identity dysphoria,
Exactly.
dysphoria, where you think of something that's not real. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. And look, we have compassion towards these folks, and they're dealing with genuine things going on in their brain.
Right. Yeah, he didn't we're not assuming he just made this up to be a pain in the neck for some people around him. He probably has a real mental condition. He needs love, understanding, counseling. Totally. But the story doesn't just end there, does it?
It doesn't. Unfortunately, if it was just a matter of talking about semantics and things about what we believe and what they believe, it would be a relatively straightforward matter. But this involves a locker room because because as being an officer, there's things that it's not safe to come to work uniformed in this specific agency. And so they change when they get there.
Why is it not safe to come to work in a uniform in this agency?
Because people can then identify the officer, and it's just their practice is not to dress at home and come to work.
Okay, I see.
Dressed in the uniform.
In other words, it's for their own protection as well. Okay, gotcha.
That's right. It's really for the officer's protection.
Okay, so they come to work, dress regular clothes, then they change in the locker room into their uniform.
That's
right?
correct.
And in locker room, once again, they have showers.
That's correct.
Okay, continue on.
It's designed like any other locker room, and it is as it has been from time immemorial, divided between the sexes. There's a male locker room and a female locker room. And so it goes until this day when the individual decided, nope, I'm going to be in the female locker room from now on. And so
he just announced that.
Well, he did it in conjunction with his employer. He asked for an accommodation, and he got the accommodation.
So his government employer, supervisor,
Yes.
he says, look, I feel like I'm a woman. I want to go into the locker room where all the women are taking off their clothes, showering, and changing. And the supervisor said yes.
That's correct.
Okay. Michael, is there any law, federal law, that says all you have to do is just say you're something different than you are and you're going to be treated that way? Like, I say, like, I feel like I'm a woman, and therefore the federal government entitles me to such an opportunity or experience to go into the women's locker room. I mean, is that a federal mandate?
No, there is no federal law per se, although I will say the federal circuits are sort of mixed on this. There are a few circuits who have held that this kind of accommodation is protected under Title VII. And
Now, Title VII says absolutely nothing about transgender individuals and letting the opposite sex strip in front of each other. So these are very liberal activist judges that the kind that I think has really been very problematic, and hopefully we'll see more of them replaced in the next few years by President Trump. But
yes.
In the meantime, though, we've got these kind of judges, we've got these kind of decisions coming down.
Yes.
And so that's why this case is not just a quick slam dunk, temporary restraint or motion for summary judgment gone. This actually has some legal complications as well as significance.
It sure does. And in fact, just to be clear on this issue of the circuits that have held that this is covered under Title VII,
right?
I think it's arguable, in fact, the very opposite, that Title VII says that women get to be treated as women, and I think that assumes that they have a private place to remove their clothing where only other females are there. And these courts are rewriting Title VII. Congress has not acted on this. So
right.
I think that's very important, is that for decades there's been this argument within Congress about changing Title VII, but it has not been done.
Right.
So
right.
the law is the law.
Right.
Except for these circuits who have decided.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point as far as what it was intended to do, and how this application, that is allowing men to go into women's locker rooms, actually gives less protection for women, less opportunity, because how many women can be expected to have a job where it says, oh, yes, you can work as a federal law enforcement officer, so long as you're also willing to strip naked in front of a biological man who more likely than not is turned on by looking at you. You're totally welcome to work for this. I mean, what reasonable, rational woman would want such a job and really be truly offered an equal opportunity? I mean, yes. Someone could say, well, a woman could go into the men's locker room and do the same thing. Well, it's not the same impact. And I think Title VII, the spirit of Title VII, which is, hey, let's give everyone an even playing field of opportunity, is irrefutably denied and violated when we're looking at this particular application, and these judicial activists out there who have ruled the wrong way regarding Title VII, I think is very apparent.
It is very apparent. And to get to our client, there's a lot that can be said about this,
right.
the individual, and I don't want to get into too much detail here.
I know. But
our client believes, with a sincerely held religious belief, that God created male and female. She does not believe that God created people that are in between or on the other side or a mix of the two. She believes what the Bible teaches.
Right. And the significance of that is that when she sees that man with his clothes taken off completely standing in front of her, she cannot pretend and say, oh, that's a woman because he thinks of himself as a woman, so therefore I'm going to be dysphoric also. She
yes.
has actual religious deep roots of conviction that she couldn't turn off, even if she was able to psych herself out to think that man who's stripped naked in front of her or is looking at her getting out of the shower is a woman. She has religious convictions that she could not deny, and that would definitely impact her. And also we have to realize something else too. I think it's real important, Michael. Many people don't realize this, but the studies all show that most transgender individuals, like men who say that they feel like they're woman, are still sexually attracted and turned on by women, by looking at women. That's the people we're talking about in these places. So yes, we need compassion, we need reasonable accommodation as is necessary, and to allow these people to be able to do their job and meet their obligations in the workplace. But we cannot allow people to violate the basic fundamental decency and humanity and the religious convictions of their fellow workers, particularly of female workers. So I think this is an important case. We at Pacific Justice, of course, we're representing her.
That's correct.
Any idea on the timetable, or is this probably going to take a while, huh?
We're gonna be at this for a while. We're just in the process, and I will say that the law enforcement agency has responded to us in terms of trying to see if there's a way of accommodation, which all employers are required to do when there's a discrimination issue.
Right.
And they are participating in that. How it will turn out, that's yet to be determined. But we are representing this person free of charge. She came to us, and we're representing her. We're in for the long haul wherever this goes. But that's what Pacific Justice Institute does, as you know.
Yes. And folks, I want you to observe that we're not a sensational group that just wants to file a quick lawsuit and then move on. When we take on a case, when we take on a client anywhere in the United States, we do it with the understanding that this is a firm commitment all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary. And we do it all without charge. And the reason we're able to do it without charge is because of people out there like you that support our work. We have 5 offices. We have hundreds of affiliated attorneys across the country, and we're having a real impact. In fact, our cases have more than doubled since this time last year. And it's because of you and people out there like you who are supporting our work. So thank you very much. So folks, there you have it. It's our God-given freedoms we're talking about. Now, let's choose to keep them. I'm Brian Dacus of the Pacific Justice Institute. Have a good weekend.